What's going on, guys? Matt back again, this time for a TV review. I'm going to be reviewing Stranger Things 3, Episode 8, titled Battle of Starcourt. It was directed and written by the Duffer Brothers, who are also the creators of the show. Going ahead and getting into the writing, my first note is, why is Joyce going with Hopper instead of staying with her children? She's a shop owner, not a cop. So, after all the danger they've been through, Hopper has to go back into the Russian base to shut down the machine that has opened a portal to the Upside Down so that it'll basically kill the brain of the Mind Flayer. Joyce, for some reason, we know for what reason. It's because she's part of the show. She needs, she's been with Hopper this whole season, and it seems all the groups had to stay the same. Whenever Steve and Robin went to the hill, they had to go, or Dustin had to go, but Steve and Robin went with them just because that's the group we've been with this entire time. For some reason, the little black girl went with them instead of staying with all the rest of the children. I don't know, just because that's the group we've been with. I thought that was kind of weird. Next thing I have, why hasn't Hopper called for backup within his police station? You would think he's the only cop in Hawkins after watching this season. I understand that the rest of the cops may not know what he knows about the Upside Down and everything, but in this situation, when you know there's a Russian base, wouldn't you call the police? Call the rest of your guys? That's what I would do. Next thing I have is Dustin calls his girlfriend, or he has to call his girlfriend, all because the Planck's constant on the piece of paper was written incorrectly. All because, I can't remember his name, but the guy that is able to speak Russian, he wrote the Planck's constant number wrong, and the writers chose for this to happen, all so that Dustin would have to contact Susie. We would find out that Susie's real, even though we know she's real, because Dustin wouldn't make up a girlfriend. All because so that they could sing together and have a big funny moment. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some parts of that sequence is funny. Anytime it cut to Hopper while that song was happening, it was hilarious. Hopper has just been miserable this whole season, and I don't think he could take any more at that point, but that part was funny. Yeah, but it leads into my next point, which is that Dustin and Susie sing as the Mind Flayer comically chases the car, as Steve and Robin, who are in the back of the car, aren't even afraid of it, which makes it the Mind Flayer look less and less threatening. So this thing has already gotten his ass kicked by Elle 3 times. Now, and keep in mind, this is the big bad of the entire series. And it's chasing the car where Steve and Robin are in the back. And at first they're afraid, because this big meat goo monster is chasing them. But then as Dustin and Susie start singing, they're more in shock of him singing than the big monster that's chasing them down the street, like 10 yards back. It just makes the monster look even less threatening and more goofy. But so at this point, it's had its ass kicked 3 times, and Steve and Robin they're more interested in Dustin and Susie singing than the Mind Flayer chasing them. I don't know. It doesn't serve the villain at all. Next thing I have is when Hopper and Joyce are about to turn the keys. I have here, why did they need to count to 3 to turn the keys? Just turn them. They do it like once they start counting 1, 2, that something's going to happen that's going to stop them from turning it. Like, if you're really in that situation, you're just going to turn it. Okay, now turn it. That's it. But of course, they have to do that so that just before they get to 3, the Russian agent Terminator guy can start fighting Hopper again. But that's a small problem. That's not as big as the rest of the things I have on this list. It's not as big as the next one. My next and final note here is throwing fireworks at the Mind Flayer is pretty stupid. Like, why is this thing really going to be hurt or scared by these fireworks? When it has all these limbs, it's not going to just swipe away at these kids throwing fireworks at it. It's just silly and unnecessary. Just go ahead and have it attack Elle so that Billy can save her. Why? You don't need that. You don't need it at all. That's it for my notes. Everything was, all my problems were in the writing of this episode. I didn't have any problem really with the directing or acting or cinematography. Nothing really stood out to me negatively, and nothing really. I mean, if it's not on this list, then it's positive, but nothing stood out for me in a really positive way either. I thought this episode was but to say some positive things, I have to give this show and this season and this episode credit for always moving forward. At the end of this episode, Hopper's gone, not dead. Billy's dead. Max has to go on with her brother dead, which is good for her character. The group has completely split, with Joyce and her children and Elle going to live. I'm not sure where they're moving, but they're going somewhere else. That's going to be interesting for next season, because I don't think we've really seen Will and Elle and Jonathan interact a lot. I don't even know if we've seen Joyce and Elle really interact that much. So we get new interactions, which is always very good. And we're left in Hawkins with Mike, I can't remember the black kid's name, and Max and Dustin. And then obviously Dustin's little group, the Scoot Troop or whatever. So they're going to be in completely different places. I think the creators of this show have said that each season it gets bigger in scope. So maybe we're going to have to see these characters, even though they're in different cities, somehow get involved in this situation again. I don't know if they'll come together or what, but we'll have to see. I'm going to have to give this episode a 7 out of 10. I think it's just all right. All in all, this season was all right. The main thing that drove it for me were the characters. The Duffer Brothers keep getting these characters right. They're interesting. They're funny. I love watching them interact with each other. I love watching them deal with situations, especially Hopper and especially Steve. But that's my review of Stranger Things 3, Episode 8, Battle of Starcourt. Please let me know what you guys thought of this episode and this season as a whole. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the points I made. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell for future episodes, and y'all have a good one.